It's been a while, but we're back on Cloud Dialogues, and it's winter here in Melbourne, and it's -1 degree, and that is not good. So my heater's going. I hope the mic doesn't pick it up, because otherwise I'll freeze like an ice block. We have Georgia Smith as usual. Hello, Georgia.
We made it
That's
back.
right.
You've
had a country
a bit
move.
rusty, everybody.
That's right.
Well, I'm warm,
Georgie's
guys.
here to pick up the slack. Georgie's here to pick up the slack. Moving us.
You've been busy
across
with a
the
move
boards.
over to New York from London, and it's been hot this last week, right? So you've been like hibernating in your apartment.
It's like 40 degrees.
And
Love
we
my
have
air
a special
conditioner.
guest this week.
Pretending to be a
Georgie
polar
Healy.
bear.
Hello, Georgie. Welcome to
Hi,
Cloud
guys.
Dialogues.
How are we? I'm in Sydney. It's not quite 1 degree, thank goodness, but it is rainy and miserable. It's very London-esque over here.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Rice.
We thought we left
That's
London
right.
behind.
So
Apparently
we'll
not.
introduce Georgie in a second. Let's go through the news first. We won't go through the last 3 months of news since our last episode, but we will get some quick highlights from the last couple of weeks. One of our discussion topics in episodes is around the layoffs, and Microsoft have joined in again. The article says that they've joined in the AI layoffs, but I think they've done it before. So like this week, 2.1%, 4,000 jobs. I mean, it's kind of a bit boring now, isn't it? Everyone using AI as an excuse, restructuring their finances.
Yeah. And I mean, now that interest rates are a lot higher, I think there's just a much higher desire to offshore things, because it's just really about managing the books, right? I think that's what driving a lot of this. It's like, let's see what we can use AI to create efficiency, but
and
also
I guess
let's offshore things
they're
because
shifting.
the cost
They're
is
saying
a
they're
lot
shifting
higher.
investments towards AI infrastructure as well, which is, partially true. Yeah.
I mean, they would be, right? Like they're badly trying to build data centers. Yeah, I mean, I think in a zero interest rate environment, you have more.
So those days are over.
There's
well
more
and truly,
tolerance to
that's for
hiring
sure.
people onshore.
We have the next article is, I think there's going to be a lot more of these.
Yeah. Oh, now. Yeah.
Ransomware attack via Langflow. This one was named Jade Puffer. I thought you'd like that name, Georgia. That's kind of funny. But
I thought that was quite funny. I was like, what does that mean? What
I
does that
know.
mean? I've not heard about this. It's like I'm glad I'm living under a rock
know
here.
about it either until I was doing the news research. But this one used, so there's a thing called Langflow, which is a way to build agents. It's kind of like a drag and drop GUI to build agents. Usually the agent frameworks are a little bit, codey and hard to use. This one is sort of like drag and drop type thing to build your agent and give it the tools and the prompts and everything. And apparently it used a flaw that basically they can also host these agents, and it used a flaw to, get out of that sort of sandboxy thing and get into other systems. So there's going to be a lot more of that. In the past, the security attacks have been bots and people distributed denial of service, distributed coordinated attacks on things. Now you just need distributed sort of agents to go and find the vulnerabilities. And as we've seen with Mythos, which none of us can use, the LLMs are getting a lot smarter in the use of tools and being able to find flaws, which is good for the white hackers. But then once you start using it, obviously anything you can use for good, you can use for bad. There's going to be a lot more of that. So it's about making sure that there's going to be a lot of focus on making sure that your tool permissions and everything for being able to access data, network access really needs to be locked down for these agents. So not good at all. OpenAI released GPT 5.6 today.
Today?
Yep. So
I didn't know this. It's
After-
only 9 a.m. Give me some credit.
Yes, overnight, I guess the Trump administration gave it the tick. So it's called GP. Yeah, pretty much.
Like the export control tick?
Yeah, it
Okay.
seems to be.
So they have to so there's like a waterfall from the government
So
now.
I think
So like
it's
we
just
have to,
them,
okay.
asserting their authority on,
Yeah.
America's leading the world.
There's not even
I
a
know
waterfall
it's a
on like
bit odd, but anyway,
GXP
I
or
don't know how long this
ITAR.
will go for. Maybe it's because of I guess the model's getting quite smart and they just want
What?
to, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Who knows? I don't think it's
There's like two
open.
camps, right? One camp is like it's
There's like
the
an air
US
of
is
panic.
worried about security risk and like genuinely trying to lock down potential infiltrate a hospital and vibe code your way into like these secure spaces. The other camp is control. They just want control. They're not
Yeah.
actually worried about the security risk.
Yep,
I
exactly
won't
right.
say what camp I am.
Yes. Yeah, there's the public and the private, isn't there? So 5.6 is actually called SOL, SOL. That's the
Ooh.
name. So they've
Yeah.
maybe, possibly.
Shit out of luck.
And then there's also Terra and Luna. So there's like 3 models with names. So it looks like they're moving away. Well, they're not moving away from the numbers, but they're adding code names to each of them as well. So Terra is the mid-tier and Luna is the most cost efficient. So I guess Luna is like Haiku and Claude World. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Again,
Why have you not
and
tested it?
some people, although I have seen some commentators saying it's potentially more cost efficient, well, obviously more cost efficient and better than a Fable, for example. And Fable's been like flavor of the month for the last week or so. So that's the big news in OpenAI this morning. One other news item, another sort of favorite of this podcast, is around data centers. And there's actually a lot in the news here because the Reserve Bank and Transport for New South Wales have warned data centres could take scarce land from logistics firms and housing developments, pushing up prices and overheating the economy. So you've got that, you've got the tax changes and interest rates going up. That's kind of 3 different things that are going to, affect the economy somewhat, especially around residential developments. So that's kind of interesting. And I guess that's not something the government potentially, they should have seen it coming, I guess. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes because especially on this topic, there's a development in Footscray, sort of the inner west in Melbourne, land that was allocated for housing, which just got sold to one of the data center operators, a part of it, so a little section of it, to build a data center. So that's just, I think there's going to be a lot more of that. And I think there needs to be serious thought about, because housing is sort of an issue. It's been an issue here for a long time, actually. So I don't know what the answer is, but there probably needs to be a lot more controls around that to make sure that the housing development areas, especially if they're sort of in a city, which is kind of a popular place, easy commute, near stations, for people to buy, don't get gobbled up by all these. There's plenty of land in Australia for a data centre, and we have a lot of good infrastructure. Why choose the inner city?
I just feel like exactly what is the conflict that they're talking about? Like, what is the actual scarcity?
Construction
Are they talking
labour is
about,
the
like,
big one.
construction labor? And what is it's one, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the reality is it possibly will push house prices up even more, right? And make build take longer. I don't know there's going to be a way around that. The hyperscalers are so powerful. They have so much money. If they want to build data centers, they're probably going to build data centers, right? I guess it will be for communities and the government to negotiate with them about when and how that happens and what that resource profile kind of looks like over time.
Yeah.
It's tricky,
Possibly
right? Because
pushes house prices up even
at least
more.
in Sydney, the people that are in construction are not Australians. It's people from overseas that come here and have that skill set. And, with like people are anti-immigration, well, okay, great, but then no one will be able to build the houses. and you say that that's driving up house prices because of immigration, well, there's like so many like factors, right? My parents live in Tasmania, and there's apparently going to be data centers built there, and there's a big kerfuffle around how anti-data centers they are. They're trying to get Neil the Seal to pull down the data centers.
Imagine.
I saw
they're
that.
training him up. And he's like,
He's so cute.
yeah, I think it's also just like
He's so cute.
because I was the same. I'm like, we have this center of Australia that has all of that space that you could use for data centers, and apparently it's just so energy intensive, the transportation of like that.
But there is infrastructure.
Electricity.
I think there is there's pretty good fibre across Australia. So as long as you pick the right location.
This is where I tap out because I'm like, I have no idea how one builds a data center, and like,
I think,
Yes.
And then it comes back to like power production, right? Like, how do we actually generate power? Like, what is our source of power, and how willing are we to? Yeah, I mean, I just think, as you know,
Correct.
I'm all for like a free economy.
That's right.
Government, go
Same.
away.
Same.
Unless it's in my interest.
But like, there are companies like Near that
Oh,
have
it's
digital
just in my
twins of
interest.
the energy grid.
Then I'd be like,
surely
do
we can
something.
map this out. Like, we can map this out, guys. Okay.
Yes. Oh, no, they do. Yeah, they do. And that's why I think like it would be
Yeah.
interesting to understand like
Yeah.
where exactly we see there being conflict, or is it more like a
Yeah.
general sense of
not
conflict? If
productive.
it's like a general sense of conflict, that, well, that doesn't really tell us anything. Like I get, well, I mean, I get the issue that construction is constrained. I think that's partly supply chain and partly resources, right? Do we really have the power to like fix that in the medium term? The answer is probably no, right? And then it comes back to like, well, what are we saying that we can't accommodate all the people that we have? If that's the case, then slow down immigration.
There's only a couple
right?
of
Like,
levers.
these are this is what happened, right? Like it's but then as you say, if we slow down immigration, then we probably are self-fueling the problem. So it's like,
Agree.
well, there's not an easy answer.
Cool. That's our news for this week. Let's move on to talking about AI and the human element. What is the human element, Georgie? Well, firstly, what made you get into this? Was there like a trigger or anything? Were you learning yourself? Was there a particular reason that you got into this sort of thing?
It's a great question. I stumbled into the role of program lead for the AI Accelerator at Google, which is a convoluted way of saying connecting Googlers with startups that are building AI companies and making them help each other. And I loved it. I love everything about AI. This was the first technology where I was like, oh my gosh, this adds value to my life from day zero, from ChatGPT 3. Like it just was immediately like, this is cool. We had seen Web3 and crypto and all these other things. I'm like, no, I think AI is amazing right now. So I loved AI. The reason I'm in this space and the more human element and the translation piece and why I left a job that I really loved at Google is I felt like the tech industry was all across it, but the vast majority of the population didn't feel invited and didn't feel like they, didn't know where to start. And that gap, I was like, people need more support and it shouldn't be that deep. So that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because I remember the early ChatGPT days was like, I mean, it's cool, but I didn't see, it wasn't super useful, like, especially when you compare to what we have now.
It could create a poem, Matt. You didn't want a poem.
That's right, exactly. From a tech background, there was a lot of sort of piecemeal. Oh, that's
Matt,
true.
we wrote a haiku
Okay,
about the
it was
spider
fun.
in my
How dare you?
apartment. What are you talking about? It
okay.
didn't do anything.
Okay,
What are
I
you
apologize.
talking
It's
about?
like that didn't even matter to you.
Unbelievable.
The spider is dead to me. I wonder what the spider's doing now. But And I guess it was more niche then, right? Like there were people that knew about it, but then I don't know, over the last couple of years, it's kind of exploded into everyone. Like my barber, yes, I do see a barber occasionally, uses ChatGPT for everything. Like I just asked him, do you know about AI? And he goes, yeah, ChatGPT does everything for me. And you probably find this too, that most people, well, a lot of people use it who you probably wouldn't expect. But on the other side, there's still a lot of people who don't know what AI can do for them. Do you find that?
Yeah, I do. It's so funny you mentioned the barber because my son is just old enough to go to a barber now. He used to go to like a little kiddie's place. And the barber just was making conversation with me. What do you do? And I said, oh, I've got an AI podcast, not knowing how that would go down. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we just had 11 Labs on. He's like, oh, I love 11 Labs. And I'm like, that's a very niche
Are you
voice
serious?
AI. Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm an investor on the side. I'm like,
Specific.
what? Like, it's crazy. But then there are people that have never touched the tools, and you see those graphs where it's like the vast majority of the population don't have any subscription to an AI platform. They're just using the free version. So I do think, I think there's pockets of very, very, very smart people that feel very, very overwhelmed by AI as well.
Yeah. Is there anyone you found, Georgia, who used AI that you didn't expect in your travels? Curious. Yeah.
People
I know,
used
that's the
AI
problem.
I didn't expect.
No, it's,
I feel like everyone I talk to is an engineer every day. So this is the problem. I don't have this. No, but this is exactly why when we spoke about having Georgie on, I was like, we need that because and a lot of organizations are running at and have been running at like 80% adoption of most of their AI technology, right? So they're still sitting on 20% of their whole organizational population. And in some organizations, that's thousands and thousands of people that are not touching that tech at all. That's quite shocking, really.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
why is that,
I
right?
agree,
I think we need to think
Oh, I was
deeply
just going
about
to
that.
say, we know each other from LinkedIn, right? And LinkedIn, you can say anything you like about AI, high fives all around. The other social media platforms, oh my goodness. You've seen the comments, right?
Yeah.
Like people hate AI. And maybe it's the vocal minority. I don't know, but it seems like majority of Gen Zs, majority of graduation students, majority of boomers, like do not feel comfortable with AI, even if they are using it, even if they're feeling forced to. And if you've got an organization with Gen Zs, with boomers, with people that don't like the tools and you're forcing them to use it, just because they're using it doesn't mean they're pro it or doing it in a way where it's helping the business.
Yeah, that's true too, because it's about using it in the right way, but people still have to learn from the very beginning and what the capability is, and that's actually a little bit hard because it means you have to experiment. And and when you experiment, your first experiments are usually pretty crap, and you don't get the results that you want. Although, at least on my end, I'm always going into clients who don't have any AI in their organisation, and a lot of people don't. Still, even in the tech world, right? Forget the non-tech world. Even in the tech world, they don't know it's there, and it can make their life a whole lot easier. So I think there's. That's so awful.
We don't have
Georgia.
Copilot.
Our
Copilot is
fave.
terrible.
No, but that's
It's
like
better now,
baseline,
yeah.
right? And actually,
really?
if you haven't used it in a while, you're missing out. M365, literally, Georgie. If I forget, the other day, I forgot. I was like, my executive asked me to do something. I can't remember what it was. I literally said M365. What did person X ask me to do yesterday? It was like, this is what
Okay,
he asked
maybe I
me to
need
do.
to
You
try it
actually don't need
again.
to do anything right now.
I need
was
to
like,
try it
Ace,
again.
Thank you.
Because the app comes up in my laptop
For real.
and I'm always like,
For real.
delete this
Like,
quick.
it's coming fast.
Don't look at me.
No, go away. No, I think the thing with M365 is if it has the context that it has, if it's actually properly executed in the enterprise environment, is actually Like, honestly, I ask M365 everything. Like, what did that person say to me the other day? What is the general consensus on this? What does the ad like? And it will find all of my data and like give me things that I didn't even know that I knew. I mean, I don't know, but stuff that's
Wow.
That
just
is a hot
context
take
layers
that I'm
everywhere.
obsessed
And that's
with. I will
wild.
try that again.
You've got homework, Georgie.
Yeah.
My hot take. My hot take.
Use
This is my-
Copilot.
I love this. My hot take is that
It probably depends how it's set
M365
up.
Copilot
It
is
probably depends how it's
good.
set up as well. So.
Use it, please. That's my hot take. It does. It does. No, the execution has to be it has to be executed in all of the different
But this is a
applications. If
great
it's not,
lesson,
then it won't
Georgia,
be great. But if it is, then it will be
moves
very
so
good.
quickly that, when everyone said we should use agents 2 years ago and they weren't there, okay, we progressed a lot. There's so many cases where it's like, okay, image generation sucked until it didn't. Copilot sucked, and guess what? Heard it here first. It doesn't suck now. That's awesome.
Newsflash. Yes. Honestly, everything is moving so fast. And like people ask me all the time about different products, and I'm like, I don't know. There's just so much. There's just so much. You could never keep up with it all. And that's why I think fundamentally
Agree.
it's about having like an AI mindset,
AI mindset.
which is probably a controversial take. A lot
What
of
would
people will
AI
be like,
do?
no, I'm not having an AI mindset. Yeah, okay.
I know. Think AI first.
That's not what I
So-
said, Barrett.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
Oh, hang on. You're right.
My bad.
Thanks for correcting me.
So a lot of
Furiously.
the AI stuff we
Yeah.
see, especially in the news, it's all like tech, like everything is pro tech. So I think you've said in one of your newsletters or something I read from you recently, you've said that AI literacy is about pro people, not pro tech. For decades, I guess we've looked at digital literacy, right? Probably 20, 30 years or probably longer. And especially improving digital literacy with women and underrepresented groups. So do you think that AI literacy is the next version of that, but at a much bigger scale? And are we moving quickly enough, do you think?
I feel like everyone feels like we're moving too fast, and I kind of get
Yeah.
that as well. The reason why I feel like this technological revolution is unlike previous ones, like when the internet came and of many revolutions that required coding as like a
Yes.
base skill, which I don't have. Like I have an engineering degree and I don't have a coding degree. And so previously I kind of had to wait until it was watered down enough that I could use the technology in a way that was user-friendly. But with AI, English kind of is the interface. Like that is the way you communicate. Yes, if you could code, you could probably do even more. But for the first time, underrepresented groups, people that can't code can get a website up and running within 2 hours, can bring their idea to life, can sanity check their thinking, don't need a CTO like I did a few years ago when I wanted to build an app and I had the idea. I am technical, but I can't code. I needed a CTO. Like that is crazy. Now I would never need to do that. And that's what makes me excited.
Yeah. And even those who can code, like me, well, I try to anyway, I pretend to code, you can learn new stuff quickly, new techniques, it's like every level, like from the zero coding to even the experts can still learn new things with this a lot quicker than the old days. Like, you used to have 20 Google tabs open when you're researching different things, right? I still have, probably a lot of Google tabs for different reasons, but, Stack Overflow and Google is used a lot less. Although Google's AI, remember, that was pretty shit at the beginning. It was giving you wrong information. And now it's really good. A lot of the time, if I'm searching for something, it's that
Not bad
top
now.
bit at the Google AI is usually just enough
Makes
to
it
give me
so
what I want.
easy. Yeah. Yeah, I have a bit of a chip on my shoulder not being able to code. I think that will come across, but the chip is less big now, I will say, because like even Claude Code, for example, I can just like feed in, like, I've got this error into Claude and be like, I don't know why that error. And they're like, just do this. I'm like, all right. Like maybe it's really
That's
silly and
right.
mindless. And maybe this is why things happen, like you mentioned with the vibe coding agents. Like you just copy paste terrible things in there. But it feels like I have independence that I didn't have before. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people that feel like they're not invited, because I'm like, no, this time you actually are.
Mm.
This time you can try and you can bring things to life, and it's going to feel like magic.
And on that point, when Claude Code came out, it was all command line based, right? And that scares people, a lot of people. Like, ugh, a lot of people don't even open, Terminal in their Mac or Windows because they don't need to. But then when Claude Desktop came out, like probably late last year, that's pretty much the same thing, but it's more accessible because it's an app that you can open. And then when they introduce co-work, chat, all in that same interface, it makes it, anyone can just click over to the code and go, oh, what's this? And not only that, they can build something, and now it can show you the website in the same interface without you having even to open a browser. So literally anyone can build a website. Like there's a delivery lead at my work who built, all the places with good matcha reviews in Sydney, like a little website that put it on a Google map. Like she has zero
I
coding
love
experience. So there's lots of stories like that. So I think you're right in that regard. Edit point. I've got an error, Georgia, that you're low on storage.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
it
all right.
just says.
Let's see.
So
I don't know what
I've
that
got the
means.
message as
I don't know
well.
what that
I get this
means.
in Riverside. It just basically means don't close the tab. It'll upload in the background later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it
It's
still
taking
records
time,
you.
right? Yeah. Okay. 'Cause it's like
Okay, you do that.
maybe it's because I've got the TV on.
Okay.
I'll turn my
edit point.
TV off.
Are we
See if
forgetting
that
to use
helps.
our brain, Georgie? I know I am. What? Because
That was an
Did you
issue
forget to
before
use your
AI.
brain? What I mean
I don't think we can
is,
blame
do
AI
we
for that.
reach for the tool before we think about what we actually want to do? What do you think? I think we're all
I
guilty.
asked the head of platform engineering at Anthropic about this. I said, oh, we're stopping using our brains. Should we use AI less? Everyone's so Claude pilled, at least in, the circles I'm in. And she was like, no, you should ask AI the questions. I can't imagine why the person at Anthropic's like, yeah, use our tools. I see two things happening. I personally find myself learning more right now and using my brain more because AI is moving so quickly. And I'm forced to kind of, now I've got to try Copilot. That's going to require my brain to pick up a tool that I'm not familiar with. Yeah, this is your fault, Georgia. Thanks a lot. I'm behind on something as
Georgie.
usual. Didn't know, Claude, that ChatGPT's latest model just came out. Now I got to suss that out. I feel like we are using our brain a lot. I feel like we are. But maybe for some things, the friction before you've even had the thought, you can just put a prompt in. So I'll give an example. I've got a weekly newsletter. If I wanted to, I could copy paste last week's, chuck it in and be like, write this week's edition based on headlines, based on, a few like easy things and spit it out. And then I could technically publish that. That's where you get AI slop. That's where you lose all your subscribers. And I think very quickly that just doesn't get rewarded. So if you're not using your brain and using AI to do content, to do thought leadership, to do your job, very quickly you're going to find yourself getting adverse results. If you can use your brain 80% of the way and then use AI to help refine your thinking or push back or as a thought partner, I do think you're actually using your brain more and your final result's going to be higher quality. But feel free to push back on that. That's just my take today. What is it? The 9th of July, 2026. That may change.
I on one hand, maybe I'll use AI to do things which maybe I should have, I can do in other ways, probably more efficiently. But on the other hand, I feel like I'm getting a lot more information back, which I have to sift through. So
Yeah.
it's more in, I guess the world, it's more information dense, which I guess is just it's a model, right, that tells you words. So it's a word generator, effectively a very smart word generator. So of course it's going to give you lots of information, and it's about you still need your critical thinking. You still need to check facts, especially probably less so, but you still have to check them. Unlike 2 years ago when it made up everything pretty much. But that's got a lot better. So yeah, I think there's kind of a mix. There's like, the left side where it's not so, sometimes people reach for it too early, and on the other side, you've got all this information to sift through, especially when you're developing something and you've got reviews and you've got, it's the cognitive load is probably, if anything, overall probably getting higher.
I do think I don't think. I hear that for juniors coming out of university that are using AI and then get questioned on it, they can't back up why they used that approach or that prompt. And this is across sectors. This is in finance, it's in engineering, this is in consulting, this is in all industries. If you haven't had the lived experience and you're using AI, you're really going to find yourself in hot water quickly. I'm a millennial. I've got, I could probably bluff it, even if I use AI. I was like, I could make a case for giving that answer. But if you don't have the lived experience, you can't even really sift through why you believe that. And that's dangerous, I think.
I mean, this is the thing, and people that can understand the complexity of overall systems, whether it's like human and organizational systems, whether it's technical systems, they are at a massive advantage right now because they actually have that depth of understanding. Whereas I think for people that are coming into the workforce,
it's a hard time.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm glad it's not me. It's scary. It feels scary. Like it really does feel scary. And I like it
was,
like, Georgie. I think you and I would have come into the workforce when the economy was like that was scary. But I feel like this is equally scary.
Sorry, Matt.
I was going to say, my daughter's a second year uni and she's doing some computing and some maths, and they're big on not using AI, but they've had assignments where they have to use AI. So I think that's a good mix because you do have to learn, because that's how things are going to happen in the future. But you also need to know the how, from first principles type thing. So I think,
how the hell do you have a second year uni student as a daughter? I thought we were the same age. So
oh wow,
whatever moisturizer you're using,
you're my
put that in
favorite.
the comments.
You're my favorite guest we've had so far.
What the hell? What the hell?
He's going to be talking about that for weeks. He's going to be talking about that for weeks. Look what you've done.
Okay.
She thinks that she's doing some maths, and some of that maths is quite hard, and like whenever she puts it into AI, it always gets it wrong because it, and so her view is that AI hasn't really helped her. But then on her computing subjects, she's found out that, just to kickstart some things, it's helped in that regard. So I think the way uni students should use it should be more of a learning tool, and it's great at that, right? Like you don't want the answer, you want it to prompt you what the next step is if you're stuck. It's like having a lecturer or a tutor like in your pocket, right?
I think in terms of like university and study and assessments, I think they really need to be focusing assessment on like your ability to do causal reasoning, right? Like whatever the answer is that you are giving, what is your reasoning for that answer, right? I know maths is one thing, and it's probably a good thing that ChatGPT is not very good at maths, but in terms of everything else,
Correct.
It needs to be about what is your actual analytical reasoning behind what you were saying, because you won't really get that from AI, at least not off the bat, right? You have to have that. You'll at least be doing you'll at least be using AI as a thought partner, like you said, Georgie. Like, to get to that level of understanding, you have to at least be using it as a thought partner. And then that's the way that I see it, is like, I'll have conversation with ChatGPT going for months about like a certain framework or approach or like business venture that we're developing. And it's really about like stress testing that. And unfortunately, it's often on the receiving
Yeah,
end of a
my
barrage
cognitive
of
load is
Yeah.
data and information and thoughts.
Have you
Thoughts
heard
in
of
Georgia,
Claude?
not good. Not good.
yeah. I'll just feed it into Claude.
In learning, I wish AI existed when I was doing engineering, for example, because I'm a very visual learner. And I was hearing a lot of terms I hadn't heard before, or Latin like symbols and things like that. And I had a lot of lecturers that English was a second language. And so, like, for an entire term, I was like, writing something down, I actually don't know what this means. And I was too scared to ask anyone. I was already one of the few women. I was like, do not look like scared.
Oh no.
Look like you're confident. And then it wasn't until like I was studying with the textbook that I was like, does he mean that? Like, because I'm so visual. If AI existed and I could like record it and have it transcribed and then feed that in and then be like, can you make this visual? Can you put this in a diagram? I remember recently I had a guest that was talking about non-invasive brain chips. So they're not really chips. And I was like, tell me how it actually works. And like AI created the map for me of where the brain is and where the thing transfers. And I was like, got it. But explaining it to me, no way. It's never gonna.
It's just all
penetrate.
words. La la la
It's
la
all
la.
words.
I know.
Lost, gone, and
It's
now
like-
I've got a podcast. So
It's like
there you go.
that. It's like that meme, where someone's going la la la.
Yes.
On Instagram, and then your head's like going, donuts, or
There's like
probably
a
Homer
dolphin
Simpson.
flight in
Yeah,
and out of the
that too.
ocean.
Yeah, you know the one.
Yes. Yeah, I think I think AI really makes it easy for different modalities to work for people based on an input. Like, create this output for me, and then I'll be able to absorb it a lot better, which is cool.
I think as well, like people think we don't use our brains anymore. This week, I learned about how structural engineers stabilize buildings after they almost fall over.
We should have
I'm
had
now
that
an
in our news
expert
article.
in emergency civil engineering. That's a concept. And it's absolutely fascinating, right? And then because I'm a systems thinker, I like think about everything holistically, like how these responses work, who comes in, like how do they do monitoring and telemetry after or like during an incident? Like I actually think I agree. I've learned so much more these days just because of AI, just because there's always something to be interested in.
you
That
hear
was
about that,
yesterday's topic was
I
how did
didn't
that
hear
building
about
in
that, and now I'm
almost fall
desperate.
over.
Now you're giving me more homework.
Okay,
See,
more homework.
Like-
I'll ping you later on, and I'll make sure you've done it.
please. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
42nd Street, Pfizer
development,
building. Yeah, commercial to residential.
transformation.
Transformation. I get transformation. Yeah, it started halfway through the building, started buckling
It's like 5
yesterday, and
blocks
they
or
had to like
something.
clear out half
Oh
of
my gosh.
the midtown. So that was my interesting topic. Yeah, there's always something going on, right? And the
Oh,
other
really?
day
I
it was
didn't know about that
how
one.
is Legionella spreading through my neighborhood? I really please inform me.
Many of the
York,
listeners will
there's always
remember
something
not
going on.
that long ago, the only way we would learn about this topic is a Wikipedia article, and you'd be like, and it'd be too complex, and then you kind of like, whereas with AI, you can just be like, dumb it down more, even dumber.
Yeah, I know.
Let's work our way up again. And like, I just feel like when I have a guest who's an expert in digital twins or the energy grid, in the past, there is no way I would come up with questions that could translate their knowledge into general. And with AI, I could be like, get me at least able to learn enough that I can do a good job of this. And it just doesn't feel so overwhelming anymore. Any topic in the planet, I feel like AI could help us figure it out. That's my hot take.
In that, sorry, go Georgia.
I was just going to ask Georgie about, because obviously And I think as a society, one of the concerns that I think a lot of us have is if, if a portion of the population is not using the technology, then their views and their world won't be reflected in the technology. So like I wanted to ask you, like when you talk to people that are really averse to it, like what do you say? Like because I feel like there's I understand some people have fears and that's totally understandable, right? But at the same time, it's like it's almost like an equality issue, right? In that if people are not engaging with the technology, they effectively won't be represented as the technology develops. And I think that's something that I worry about, especially given that AI is being built into all these products and services. It's like, well, if it genuinely doesn't have reflected in the technology, these
It's a
people,
great
because they're not
question.
engaging with it, like
And
how
this
do we actually deal
infuriates me
with
to
that?
no end because when
Is
I
there a way to
promote
deal with
AI,
that?
I actually get a lot of, I'll be honest, women say, how dare you promote a product that has bias? How dare you promote something that has been trained by, white men, essentially? You shouldn't be using the tool. You shouldn't promote it. You shouldn't advocate for it. And then, as we know on this call, if you don't use the tool, the bias will not change. And it
Yes.
will get further ingrained in the tool. The way I approach it, Georgia, is through entertainment and through joy. So you've got this idea, you love matcha. Why don't you create a website? Why don't you add joy and use AI to add joy into the world and do something that feels genuine? If I tell you use Copilot because you have to for your job, you're not going to love it. You're not going to feel invited. You're going to be like, fuck this industry. Like, this sucks. But if it's to help you bring an idea to life that you could never have done before, you're going to be like, AI actually is more it's more multifaceted than that. And also entertainment. Like the Substack I have is tongue in cheek and fun, but you will accidentally learn about AI in the process and it won't feel like just the tech billionaires that I get why people aren't a fan of. Why should I use your product? Why should I give you my subscription money to these tech billionaires? I get that, but it's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and I just feel like it's more multi-layered than giving Elon Musk money.
Yeah, that's a good way to approach it, for sure.
I got into a lot of hot water on my Instagram stories yesterday because I'm very pro certain hardware and like the glasses with the AI built in. A lot of people are anti those because they say it's surveillance. It's not clear that things are being recorded. I fully understand this. I fully understand the pushback. But when I'm at music festivals, which I like to do, I love going to music concerts. You put a million phone screens in the air, it ruins the experience
Yeah, it does.
for everyone. It really does. And I'm guilty too because I'm like, I'm this close to Liam Gallagher. I really want to take a photo. I really want to take a photo. But then I take my phone out and I'm like, oh, I hate myself for this. But then I was like, but I need this photo. If I had the glasses on, hands are down, take the photo.
No one
You're
would
not
know.
hurting anyone. No one needs to know. No one needs to get affected by that. But yeah, if I'm on the train and someone's recording me, that's awful. So I think that you're allowed to feel complex about AI and you're allowed to feel complex about a lot of these topics, is my very short answer to your question, Georgia.
I like that. And it's like, it doesn't need to
Yes.
be
No,
one
that's
extreme or
right.
the other, right? Like you don't need to be a full Claude code developer with everything hooked up to Lydia. And that's how you run your life and you talk to Claude on the phone in
Yeah.
San Francisco. Or, you
Yeah.
live in a hut and where
And
it's
if you
been
don't
hat.
play with the
There doesn't
tools,
need to be one or
how
the
do you
other,
have
right?
an opinion on the tools? Is
exactly
It
right.
can
another
be
thing.
nuanced.
Yeah, those people who say they don't like it and never use it, then, it's really worth nothing because you've got to at
Yeah.
least have had some experience with it. And if you use it and don't like it, that's fine. And I find that with developers too. Like even 6, 8 months ago, I met people who, I like to handcraft my code, it's like, okay, good for you. And then 3 months later, that's certainly changed. And more people have changed their mind on that because it's, it's just where everything's going. So,
I think it's the speed too. Like when DVD players came out, I remember my parents were like, no, we've got a video player. Why would we have a DVD player? Like, that's
I love
madness.
that.
100%. I think it was a decade of everyone else having a DVD player where they're finally like, I think we have to use it. But because they weren't like, you got to use it or else you'll lose your job. Oh my gosh. The pushback wasn't so hard. Whereas with AI, because of the media and because of this fear and data centers and environmental impact and blah, 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 I get why people are like, well, AI is the bad guy here. I hate it. It's just not that simple. Like it can have good qualities and bad qualities, and you're allowed to feel complex about it, but you're also allowed to have fun and joy and
Exactly.
bring your ideas to life and not have so much friction in your day-to-day life. So give it a go.
Before we finish up, we're almost out of time. I've got one final question. Is there an AI belief that you held a year or 2 years ago that you've changed your mind on?
This is my hot take.
Well, there's a lot of hot takes in this episode.
There's a lot of hot takes. This one might get me a little baby bit cancelled. I was really worried that women wouldn't use AI in general for years. I thought it would be like other technology where they would see previous times where they were not invited and a male-dominated industry that, frankly, they either weren't interested in or didn't feel invited to. The women that are using hardware and creating cyber decks and like they are promoting AI and hardware in a way men are not. Like this evolution of hardware is women dominated. Like that's what I'm seeing, at least in my algorithms, through vibe coding and all the rest of it. But they are building things like e-readers and Tamagotchis and things like that using hardware that is so much more advanced than I ever would have imagined. And it's women that are doing this, women that can't code. Wow. And like, if you told me a year ago that that would be happening, I would be like, you're mad. Go onto social media, anyone that's listening, and look up cyberdecks. It's women that are doing this. It is absolutely, we're in the future, and it's incredible, and it brings me so much joy.
Oh, I've got homework to do. Cool. Thank you for your time, Georgie. Oh, do you have you can have, what do you want to plug? Go.
Oh,
you've got things
subtle.
to plug.
So subtle, guys. Promote something.
No, everyone gets a minute to plug. Everyone gets a minute to plug something for themselves.
I've got even hotter ones in a weekly Substack. It's called Attention is All I Need. It's based on a Google pun, which is the paper that started it all in Transformers. And you can follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram and other places, but I would start at the Substack. If you like that, you'll find me in other areas as well.
Cool. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time, Georgie.
I loved this. You guys are incredible. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, all.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone. Bye.